So, we are going to talk about right triangle trigonometry. And I have a very pretty picture right kind of like over there, in case you hadn't seen it. Okay, I'll stop. No, actually I won't. Anyway, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is all review, or I'm going to assume it's review for you, those of you in pre-calculus class. You should have already seen this. But this is where we have to start and make sure everybody's on the same page. Pun intended. Okay, so this is our page that we're going to do. So, let's go to... what are you looking at me for? Look over here. Alright, standard position. When we talk about standard position, what we're talking about is that we have one ray along the positive x-axis and another one in quadrant 1, and the angle between them is theta. So that's standard position. Now we're going to assume, unless we say differently, we're going to assume that all of the triangles we deal with are in standard position. So if we draw a right triangle, or we make this a right triangle, we draw this opposite side right here. So opposite, everything is relative to theta. So the opposite side of the triangle is opposite the angle. The adjacent side is next to it, and the hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle, and that's also technically adjacent, but it's opposite the right angle on that. So, right triangle trig, ratio of the sides of the triangle. So, every triangle that has a specific ratio between, for example, sine of theta is the ratio between the opposite side and the hypotenuse. So when you set up that ratio, any triangle that has that ratio of sides, and we're talking about the length of the sides. So these triangles can be huge, they can be very small, but if they have that same ratio, then they are the same angle. And by the way, I know, okay, it's spelled S-I-N, that's the abbreviation, it's spelled S-I-N-E as in sine, so please don't pronounce that as sin, for a variety of reasons. Anyway, so sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. Tangent is actually sine over cosine, but that becomes opposite over adjacent. So, and you can figure out all kinds of acronyms for this. These ratios, if you use the first letter, the one we use around here, of course, is Oak Harbor always has outstanding athletes, which we're not going to go into the truth value of, but it can help you remember. So, these others, cosecant, secant, and cotangent, these are the inverses. So, the inverse of sine is cosecant, yeah, talk for a living. Okay, hypotenuse over opposite, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent, and cotangent, adjacent over opposite. The vast majority of our work is going to be right here. We will get into the others sometimes, but not very often. So there you have it. Tattoo this on your eyelid somewhere, because this is where we start. Hasta la vista.